Ohio State, where I've had them all year, showed themselves to be one of the three best teams in college football with their 17-14 victory against Notre Dame in Notre Dame, Indiana, which is a municipality unto itself inside of South Bend. I get a kick out of that, right? No wonder South Bend folks feel some kind of way about Notre Dame. But this game didn't go Ohio State's way for most of it. Like, you can't score on the 1 yard line, which would again been the first TD of the game, but you go up 3-0 at halftime. The defense is playing out of its mind. Like, I made this point on the live show Saturday night that if I told you that the Buckeye defense had held the Notre Dame offense to 14 points into the fourth quarter, you would have assumed that the Buckeyes were ahead, maybe by a lot, but that wasn't the case. You get a home run hit from Travion Henderson for the first TD of the game right when you needed it, right? And you're able to get 10 on the board, but credit to Sam Hartman and that Notre Dame offense for just finding a way to get into the end zone and make this not just a game, but 14-10 means that Ohio State had to go down there and get a score. Left them just a little bit too much time to get down to the 1 yard line. The game's on the line, and we got to see Chip Trayanum basically push his way into the end zone. But during the live show, I didn't know this until afterward. I was talking about how it was great that Ohio State was able to punch it in when they needed to go get this win after what was a really great performance from Notre Dame. And then I learned after we finished the stream that Notre Dame only had 10 men on the field in the most important play of the game. And Ohio State was able to punch it in to go get that 6 for a dramatic win. It feels really kind of terrible to win a football game like that, but I'm going to reference Marcus Freeman talking about having 10 players on the field because, one, we could think it was coaching, but usually it's not. Usually the coaches are on top of this. It's the players that need a little bit of help. Marcus Freeman answered the question about 10 players on the field by saying, we were trying to get a 4th D lineman on the field, and I told them to just stay off because we can't afford a penalty. And he didn't have any timeouts. That's on us. We got to be better. He said it was inexcusable, and it is. I really hate this. I do. I hate it because there's a 4th D lineman who's standing next to Marcus Freeman, who knows that if Ohio State scores, it's for him. It's forever that he wasn't on the field. Because the one thing you want to do in this sport is affect the game. And you couldn't affect the game because there was just a mental challenge you didn't overcome at the time. Freeman caught it. Good on him for not getting the penalty, right? And running the guy back out there, maybe giving them a fresh set of downs and just hoping that they could do it with 10, which would have been an outstanding story. And frankly, would have led right into the narrative around Ohio State. So I have Ohio State at 3, but all year, all offseason, all you'd heard was Ryan Day might not be the guy in Columbus. Based on what? And it is based on this approach of physicality. So let me backtrack here. In 2021, Ohio State went to Michigan in a muck, mire, cold game and got handed its head. Okay? Gave up more than 200 yards on the ground and couldn't really run the ball themselves. I think they had 63 rush yards, had to throw the ball all over the field in a loss to Michigan. 2022 comes around. You're expecting a revenge game from Ohio State at the shoe. No, they got embarrassed at the shoe. Gave up over 500 yards of offense, over 250 yards on the ground. Make the playoff, right? Give Georgia everything it wants in what was the de facto national championship game. And still, we're talking about Ryan Day and whether or not these dudes are too soft to play at Ohio State. And you got to understand, Ohio State is a place full of roughneck from the Rust Belt. Okay? The thing they don't do is soft. Are we hard enough to go and get wins? Is the defense hard enough to go beat people up? Is the run game hard enough to run people down? And then you get Lou Holtz, legendary Notre Dame coach, on the airwaves, who says that Ohio State will lose to Notre Dame because they're simply not physical enough. If somebody did not need to hear that at that moment in time, it was Ryan Day, who was all the way charged up, because there's a lot of things you could call Ryan Day that probably don't get a rise out of him. Every time I talk to the man, it's been very cool. He's been super chill and frankly open and honest. But calling his team to be less physical than Rose Byrne in an Apple TV show, that's going to do it. That's going to fire him up. And they went out and won a really physical football game against a really physical football team in Notre Dame. Yeah, he going to have him a good time. And frankly, so should Buckeye fans, because that message is being sent. Now, they still got to play Penn State. They still got to play Michigan. But right now, it's a good time to feel good about a Buckeye team who didn't play its best football in a dirty, nasty game. Dirty being rough, not dirty being foul, right? I don't think anything was underboard about this. That's not the point. The point is they were able to run the ball and play outstanding defense when they needed to. And I think they're going to show that as Kyle McCord continues to grow up, because he did a lot of growing up in that game. Like, I thought it was interesting that Sam Hartman also had played against Notre Dame at Wake Forest and had said, hey, the moment was too big for me. I didn't understand. And then I got there and said, oh no, this I don't know what to do with this. Kyle McCord was in a similar situation. There's nothing like being in that experience and knowing what it is like to try to calm yourself down and to make the simple throws and to not get in your own way. And he's fighting that all night long. Even Day was going, hey man, he's learning. He's going through it. That's what has to happen. That's called work-life experience. Those of us that look at resumes job applications going, do you have 2 years, 5 years experience? It's like, no, because nobody give me a shot. I'm talented enough to go do this. Just give me a shot and teach me. Now Kyle McCord got that opportunity and got a win. Really excited for Ohio State and the rest of their season.
Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.